Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for our transfer EOF information session. We're so happy that you decided to show some interest in Rutgers University-Newark, and thank you for joining us and watching us in this pre-recorded webinar. My name is Vincent Tepedino. I am one of the assistant directors in the admissions office here at Rutgers University-Newark. With me today, I have two very wonderful people representing both our EOF and our financial aid office. From EOF is Sabrina Zangi, who will introduce herself again later on when it's time for her to take over her portion. And from financial aid, it is Gemma Mendoza, who again will introduce herself when it's time to talk to you a little bit more about financial aid and what that looks like as a transfer student at Rutgers University, Newark. So a little bit about what we're going to be talking today is the entire transfer process at Rutgers University, Newark. And beyond that, we're going to talk about what that looks like to be EOF, and what it looks like to make this particular institution as affordable as possible for you as transfer students. I will start the presentation today and we'll talk a little bit about admissions. And with talking about admissions, we have to talk about your plan, right? How are you planning to transfer? And I like to talk about three different areas with students, most importantly, it's students that are here with me, and talking about planning ahead first and foremost. And you're doing that already. You're doing that just by asking the right questions, by speaking with your advisors, and by hearing from people like myself, Ms. Mendoza and Ms. Sanghi. So plan ahead is always important. And planning ahead doesn't necessarily just mean talking to people at Rutgers, but it also means, networking with those transfer advisors that you have at your campus, wherever that may be. Two is do your research, right? So when you're looking at which school is right for you, because not every school is the best fit, talk about their transfer process, right? And we'll talk about that later today. Check all the transfer credit policies. Do those schools accept C's or D's or C minuses? Are we accepting pass-fail credits? Things like that, right? These policies change. So you always want to be up on the information that you need in order to make sure that you're making the right decision for you. Of course, part of this won't be possible right now, but you always want to visit the campus. But with COVID-19, what we are experiencing is a lot of students using our virtual tour to get a feel for our campus. And in order to do that, you can just visit our website at admissions.newark.rutgers.edu and always speak with a representative, which you can do there as well via a live chat. Maybe not most importantly, but one of the most important things is to be sure that you apply early. And with that just becomes the awareness of deadlines. And when I'm talking about deadlines, I don't just mean the admissions application. I'm talking about FAFSA deadlines. Those things are important as well, if not more important. Also scholarship deadlines. Some of our application deadlines, which we'll talk about a little bit later, have to do with our scholarships. So make sure that you're aware of those deadlines. So really doing those three things, I think will really help students plan to transfer in the future. Very quickly, I know as transfer students, you all have an idea or a really good idea of what major you're going to pursue. Here at Rutgers University, Newark, for transfer students, we have 5 main schools that you can see here that students can transfer into. The Newark College of Arts and Sciences, the Business School, the School of Criminal Justice, School of Public Affairs and Administration, as well as the University College Newark, which is just a smaller subset of the Newark College of Arts and Sciences that offers certain programs for students who want to go to school maybe primarily in the evening, or who want to join one of our off-campus programs that we offer at the County College of Morris or Brookdale Community College. And you can see we have a number of different programs, over 65 plus, that are offered in a wide array of interdisciplinary areas throughout these 5 schools. So I put this slide together a few years ago to try to capture the entire process really in one screenshot, right? So when students are asking me, well, what do I need to do in order to be considered? The first thing is you need to apply, obviously, right? And you go to admissions.rutgers.edu and you'll see an apply button at the top right corner there. You could even add a /apply to that hyperlink. It'll take you right there. Everything that you need to see about your application will be on your status screen. And the status screen is simply just admissions.rutgers.edu/status. Now, what's important to know is on that status screen, it'll track your application process, your decision, the receipt of any documentation that we have, and more importantly, anything that's still outstanding that you need in order to move forward with that process. So when students are talking to me about, well, how do I complete my application? The transcript for a transfer student is usually the most important piece. We don't ask for recommendation letters. The essay is optional for students on the application for transfers as well. So the transcript should come to us either by mail, which you can see the address there. And some students like, well, no, I'm applying to Newark. I don't want to send it to Piscataway. That's okay. New Brunswick is our central processing center, so all documents can go there. So if you see that address there on the screen, that's okay. That's where it should go. Transcripts can also be emailed. Some schools have electronic submission via Parchment or Clearinghouse or through NJ Transfer, and that's okay as well. Those transcripts go to transcripts@admissions.rutgers.edu, which is also handled centrally, so not necessarily a Newark specific domain. So that's okay as well. Either way that we get that transcript, we will be able to move forward. Once we receive your transcript, if we're able to admit you, then you accept that offer of admission at the status screen as well. So you go to the same status screen, you'll say yes, it'll prompt you to pay this enrollment fee that you see here in step 4, and you'll be well on your way to signing up for what we call a SOAR, Student Orientation, Advisement, and Registration Day, where you will meet either in person or virtually, depending on the environment, with your academic advisor to go through your courses and everything else beyond that. So it's apply, submit your transcript, accept your offer, pay your enrollment fee, and then, of course, log into Enrollment Pathway to sign up for registration. Now, we'll talk a little bit more about, what EOF entails for transfer students, but I will say one thing now, and I don't want to steal Sabrina's thunder, but should students be EOF at their community college, or other four-year school, you can submit a transfer EOF form where the admissions office might consider you for a waiver of that fee. And my office works very closely, obviously, with Gemma and Sabrina and her office to determine those students that are EOF, that are high need, and amongst other things, to determine whether or not we can waive that enrollment fee. So make sure that you're keeping up to date with that information, because it could save you some money at the forefront of this process. Can't have a conversation about process or transferring or whether it's the right fit for you without talking about scholarships. And we're only going to talk about one really in great detail, or two rather, but I want to touch on some of the academic merit scholarships that we have. So we offer awards to students who are Phi Theta Kappa. It is not for every PTK member. For those of you who don't know, PTK or Phi Theta Kappa is a transfer honor society. We have a very limited number, so we do review students automatically who indicate that they are PTK, but not every PTK student will receive that award. We also have scholarships that are not academic based. This being our most widely used scholarship for transfer students. Essentially, students would need two things. Students would need to be a graduate of a New Jersey County college and also need a household adjusted gross income of $60,000 or less. That's $60,000 or less. So what students do is they apply, they indicate on their application that they are or will be a graduate of one of the 18 New Jersey County colleges. Admissions then will pre-code them as eligible, and that list will go over to financial aid. Financial aid will pull your FAFSA, and they'll look at the adjusted gross income line for that particular student. If it is $60,000 or less, then essentially you would qualify for Run to the Top. And what Run to the Top does, it's considered a last dollar scholarship. And what that means is after all other grants, scholarships, be it internal or external, are applied to your tuition bill, then Rutgers University-Newark will cover whatever balance is remaining. So there's no official amount associated with this award. It is last dollar, meaning that if there's a balance after all other things apply to your bill, then Rutgers University-Newark will cover that balance. What's important for transfer students is that it's up to 2 years or 4 semesters. So there is a shelf life on this this scholarship, an expiration date, if you will. So it's only good for 4 semesters, and it's only good for fall and spring. It will not cover anything that is summer or winter that is generally additional. The other one that I want to get into with really great detail is our honors living learning community. So when students think of the word honors, they automatically assume that we need certain level of academic criteria, certain level of academic merit. This particular program brought to us, I think, about 4 or 5 years ago, and is one of our staple programs here at Rutgers University-Newark, is taking a different approach to what does it mean to be an honors student. So essentially, as you see in the first bullet point there, we are revolutionizing what that word means. We're looking for talented students in all walks of life, not just those who have the 4.0 or that were in their honors program at their previous institution. We're looking for those who have an interest in being change agents in the community, some of those students who want to make a difference in the immediate community and beyond. And we identify these students through a 2-step interview process. So students would essentially have to apply by our priority deadline, which again, I will discuss in a minute, but since we're on the topic, our priority deadline for fall is February 1st. And that deadline is very important, not only for honors living learning community, but also for all those students who want to be considered for Phi Theta Kappa. You must apply by February 1st. So you must apply by February 1st for HLLC, or Honors Living Learning Community, HLLC for short. And then you go through a two-step interview process. If you are selected after this process, then you are a member of our Honors Living Learning Community should you choose to accept. If you do, there is an 18 credit minor that is associated with this program, but it is also a residential experience, meaning that you're going to be required to live on campus. But Rutgers University-Newark offers a residential gap scholarship, much like Run to the Top, to cover those room and board costs. So there is a huge benefit to being to this a part of this program, not only because you'll build a community and have a certain level of inclusion in activities and with Rutgers University Newark's campus, but you'll also have a tremendous financial benefit. So definitely take this into account. Might want to do some further research on it. If you went to any of our websites, you'll see links for the Honors Living Learning Community or HLLC program. Take a look at what it entails. It might be something that definitely interests you. So certainly last but not least, I mentioned a few things. I mentioned our apply website, and then I mentioned you could just do admissions.rutgers.edu/apply. And that will take you right to where you can fill out the undergraduate admissions application. And that application would be for those students who have never attended a Rutgers campus before. If you have, then you might want to consider doing a re-enrollment application, even if it's been 10 or 15 years. So the undergraduate admissions application is only for students who have not attended Rutgers in the past. Again, you'd want to submit your transcripts. So transfer deadlines, as I mentioned before, we do have two for spring, right? It's the semester that does start in January, depending on when you're watching this. It's October 1st. For fall, it's February 1st. So keep that date in mind, especially if you're interested in fall. February 1st is important for most of our scholarships like PTK or HLLC. For that Run to the Top scholarship I mentioned, we don't adhere students to applying by February 1st, but you do need to not only apply, but fill out your FAFSA by June 1st for fall. That is very, very important if you want to be considered for that scholarship. And I want everyone watching this to be able to maximize your ability to attend Rutgers. And the best way to do that, apply early, maximize your ability to get financial aid. So before I turn it over to Sabrina, just wanted to leave this last slide with you for a few seconds. My name, obviously my personal email address, despite the T being capitalized there that I did not catch. And of course, a very friendly URL to our transfer specific portion of our admissions website, just bit.ly, bit.ly/transfer to the number 2 run. If you just type that in, it'll take you right to our transfer admissions website. And always, if you want to keep connected and engage with Rutgers University Newark, follow us on Instagram at RUN Admissions. So at this particular point, I'm going to go ahead and mute myself and turn it over to Ms. Sanghi from our EOF office. Sabrina?
Hi, everyone. Again, my name is Sabrina Sanghi. I'm Assistant Dean over in EOF. I'm happy to be speaking to you guys today. So some of you are already familiar with the EOF program. Some of you may have been members of the EOF program, and some of you may not. Either way, you can still become a member of EOF program. So I'll give you a run through a little bit about who we are and the type of services that we provide at Rutgers University-Newark. So the EOF program is a part of the Academic Foundation Center, and the Academic Foundation Center really helps low-income students who are highly motivated, gain the academic support in order to be successful. And so we have a number of services. We have a counselor that works with you from the moment that you enter Rutgers up until graduation. We guide you through financial, academic, personal, and career concerns. There's also a tutoring component to our program in case you're having difficulty in some of your subjects. We have leadership opportunities through our student-run organizations. We also have student development workshops that we have throughout the year that are basically geared towards the topics that you guys tell us that you want to hear more about. We also have scholarship referrals. There are some scholarships that are only available to EOF students. And so we refer students to those. There's also additional funding opportunities to take some classes in the summer and in the winter. We connect you to resources, and we're also your campus-wide advocates. So, that's a lot put in one slide, but, just to let you know that our main focus is just to really make sure that you have the resources that you need in order to in the summer and in the winter. We connect you to resources, and we're also your campus-wide advocates. So, that's a lot put in one slide. But, just to let you know that our main focus is just to really make sure that you have the resources that you need in order to promote your success here. So in order to be eligible for the EOF program, there is some criteria that you have to meet. One, you must be admitted to Rutgers-University-Newark. You must have a completed FAFSA, which Mr. Cepardino did go over how important that is to make sure that you have one and have one in, by a certain time. Also complete the EOF transfer application that is available on the MyRun website, the EOF website that you're going to get at the end. Be a New Jersey resident for at least 12 consecutive months prior to enrolling at Rutgers. Satisfy your financial eligibility and confirmation process. So this is a big one. Any student that is coming into Rutgers-Newark and is indicating that they want to be EOF must go through a financial eligibility process where you have to submit supporting documents. There are deadlines that you must adhere to, which are on our website, on our transfer form. So you must make sure that whatever documents financial aid asks you about, you submit them on time. And I'm sure Ms. Mendoza will talk to you about that when it's her presentation section. And you also have to complete your transfer orientation, which is held in August for fall admits and January for spring admits, in which we give you a rundown of all the details of the services that we provide, how to access them, and also an overview of vital things that are important to Rutgers University-Newark. So if you look on the right, there are income guidelines. And so this screenshot will help you identify whether you're eligible to be an EOF student. So basically, when you're looking at this, you see how many people are in your household, and then your income is not to exceed, your family income is not to exceed the second column. And then the third column are your assets. So the type of money that you have in the bank, if you have any business investments and things like that, they can't exceed that third column. So if you have any more questions, we do have more, information on our website as well. Okay, so how EOF funding works. So if you are already an EOF student, EOF funding does not follow you from your standing institution. It's basically contingent on eligibility and availability of funds at Rutgers University-Newark. So even though you might be an EOF student at your current institution, you do still have to go through the eligibility process here at Rutgers-Newark. And also, if there are funds available here, then we are able to fund you. But if not, then we would have to basically hold your application and it would go on to the next semester if we did not have funds available for the current semester in which you come in. There are deadlines, as I said. So, your application would be due, if you're coming in for the fall, your application would be due September 15th. And this is your EOF transfer application, not your, Rutgers University application, just to clarify. So your EOF transfer application, which is found on the EOF website, and it has to be submitted to EOF, is due September 15th for the fall, or for the spring, February 1st. Okay, so you have to make sure you get that document to us by these two deadlines, depending on when you're watching this. Now, after you submit your application, then your basically your information gets forwarded to financial aid. Financial aid will tell you what documents you have to submit. You must submit the documents by this deadline, October 1st for fall and February 15th for spring. So you have to make sure that you get all your documents in order as soon as you see what is required. Some of those documents you might have to request from other agencies. And so it's really, really important that you get on this as soon as you see it, because we don't want you to miss the opportunity for your eligibility for that semester. Again, if it does happen where you're not able to be confirmed eligible for that semester, we will forward your application on to the following semester. So just to give you, I know that it's difficult now that we're in this virtual environment, what EOF looks like. So here are some pictures to give you some context. Here are some pictures of our student organizations and leadership activities. We've hosted a variety of trips, community services, advocacy in Trenton. You see some students there with the yellow sashes on. Students here at a conference over here on the left, that's our males group going to a conference. So there's a lot of opportunities for you to gain that experiential experience from a variety of activities. So here we have pictures of some of our student development workshops. Some are more academic based. You see on the right a panel of first generation professionals. Students got to ask them questions and really they got to share their experience with the students. We have in the middle our town hall with you see kind of the lecture group. We get together twice a semester, try to get all EOS students together in the same room in order to give them updates, any relevant updates, and we have usually a presenter. This is our senior award ceremony where we celebrate our seniors every year. So you get a picture of what that looks like. So why EOF? So I hope that gave you a snapshot of what EOF is and how to become an EOS student, but we're really guidance with your best interests at heart. We provide that financial, personal, and academic support when you have any challenges. We are your campus advocates. We do try to provide you with a peer network of support, so of other EOS students that are there to support each other, those experiential learning opportunities, and also provide leadership development. So thank you so much for listening to me rant about EOF. I'm very passionate, and our staff is very passionate about the EOF program and helping our EOS students. If you have any questions, you can also email us. The email is here at the bottom, eof_Newark@afc.rutgers.edu. And now I'll pass it off to Ms. Gemma Mendoza, who will talk about financial aid.
Thank you, Sabrina and Vincent, for those wonderful slides. My name is Gemma Mendoza. I do the financial aid piece of EOF. For the transfer students watching this might seem a lot more familiar than not. On screen, you'll see the eligibility requirements for federal student aid. You have to be enrolled at an institution in a degree or certificate program. You have to be a U.S. citizen or eligible non-citizen, amongst other requirements for federal aid specifically. Again, something familiar to our transfer population should be what's on screen, which is the home screen for FAFSA. Our school code is 002629. As mentioned prior by Vincent and Sabrina, you should adhere to our Rutgers University deadlines. Incoming students should file their FAFSA by December 1. For our non-U.S. citizens or non-eligible citizen students, there are options for state aid. On screen, you will see a website, hisa.org, of which you can complete an alternative application, which does allow our NJ Dreamers to be reviewed for state aid eligibility. This includes the EOF program as well. On screen, you'll see certain requirements to be able to complete the application. Deadlines. That's something that we cannot stress enough. On screen, you'll see all deadlines for our fall incoming transfers as well as our spring incoming transfers. Not only should you submit an EOF transfer application, but for those of you that have not had EOF at your prior transfer institution, there is something you can fill out to consider you for the EOF program. The deadlines for that application is also listed on screen. Now, I do know Sabrina mentioned a lot of financial aid pieces in the sense that we will prompt you to submit documentation to see if you are eligible for the EOF program at our institution. On screen, you'll see the website link for documents that we will require you to submit. I do stress to a lot of students, you should continuously check via email or just by logging into this website there are documents sometimes that you may submit that won't necessarily be the right document, but we will email you directly to that regard. Sabrina also did mention there are documents that we require you to submit that are not institutional documents that you would have to request, like your tax return transcripts or verification of non-filing. On screen, you'll see the irs.gov website. You should be requesting this as soon as it is prompted. Certain local offices are not open for in-person appointments. And via mail, the document does take some time to get to your home address. On screen is also a sample of what your award letter or offer letter would look like. There's also a URL available to see if you were awarded. Always make sure to compare your total direct costs with your total grants and scholarships. Any positive difference between these two numbers will be the amount you owe, if any.
So thank you so much, Gemma, Sabrina. It's just wonderful information that I don't think the students would have gotten had we not have you here today with us to record this for them. What's important, I think, through all of the information that you all have received is, just to be aware, right? To be aware of what's needed, to be aware of opportunities that are there for you, whether it be for scholarship, for engagement, for EOF, for financial aid, right? To ask questions, to do your research, and to be an advocate for yourself, right? I mean, that is what we're here for. We're here to answer your questions. We're here to provide you that information. And we want to have those conversations with you. So don't be shy about reaching out. Speaking of research, here, and we'll leave you with this, we have several websites that you can see here from the offices that we represent, that you can go on and check out some of our information that we have there, whether or not you be applicants or prospective students or admitted students or even students that have already decided to enroll. There is information there for every step of the funnel. So please utilize that information to the best of your ability. Reach out to us, reach out to our offices. We're here for you. We congratulate you on your persistence through these unprecedented times, and we're so excited that you're interested in Rutgers University-Newark, and we hope to speak with you and quote unquote either see you soon. So thank you so much for joining us, and have a blessed day. Thank you.